What saves this segment for me is Mox. Because I don't think I would give even half of a rat's ass if it wasn't for Mr. Moxyagi, which is what I'm calling him now.
That is so good.
Moxyagi?
Yep.
Which do you prefer?
I think Moxyagi flows a little better, but either one would.
Less kayfabe.
MJF is going to win this thing?
More chaos.
Tony, I'm sorry that I thought that.
All elite.
Boston.
This is
It
the
was
Elite Heat
Dynamite
Podcast.
tonight, which surprised me
With Tim and Doug.
because they said something on the show that broke my brain a little bit.
Okay.
And it's that Redemption is a week from Sunday.
Yeah. Yup.
I went, really?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Remember we were talking about last week when it was like, how long? And we're like, oh my God.
Yeah, but in my head, the 26th was still like at least 2 weeks away. So that broke my brain a little bit. But anyway, so let's talk about what went down tonight. An interesting show as it relates to Redemption, in my opinion. So let's begin with the heat check and talk about what we liked and what we thought was only okay and what we didn't like from tonight.
I liked the very first promo with the Death Riders training Ospreay, and I liked it because when Mox came in and was like, when you get your shot, you need to take it no matter who it is. And I like it because I now have doubt in my mind that Ospreay is going to win at All In, because now I have doubt because I don't know if Ospreay is going to be able to pull the trigger on Kenny Omega. And I think that could lead to a schism into Death Spray. So I really, really, really liked that. And I could be reading way too much into it, but I liked that. I also liked the big schmaz that we had with Cage and Cope and everyone with the Bang Bang Gang and Jay White and the Dogs and the Death Riders. And I really like Christian Cage and Jay White still having beef. I think that is going to be really pivotal in this moving forward. But I like it because these groups should be fighting. I like that. I really do. Even though it does what you and I really don't understand, which is kind of cloud the issue of who are the Death Riders and what are they doing? Because depending on the minute of the show, you don't know, are they face? Are they heel? Are they nothing? What are they? What are they? What are they?
That is one of several thoughts I have about everything that happened in that match.
I also like the Andrade Renee bit. It was short, moved the conflict forward, defined it a little bit better, and hinted at maybe Andrade has a friend in Will Ospreay. I kind of like that. The demand challenging the conglomeration. The thing I really liked about that, this is more like B-level. This is B-level. I'll move on past that. I just liked Orange Cassidy saying, well, Renee, now's about the time when someone should come challenge for, look.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
That was the best part about that. And as far as things that I really liked, I like the Kenny, Renee, and Darby bit because I think that continues to give that tension between the love triangle that is Kenny and Death Spray. And with Darby going, look, Kevin Knight's not going to change. You can't change people. And I think Mox came in and told him, he's right. You can't change people. So I continue to like that. And those were my big hits that I really, really liked.
All right. Here's the stuff I liked. I'll go more in depth.
Here's where Tim tells me how wrong I am.
Doug, you ignorant slut. No, here's the stuff that I liked, and we'll go more in depth when we run this whole show down. The Death Riders video, actually a lot of it's the same as your list. Death Riders video, I liked Cage and Cope versus the Death Riders. I have a lot of thoughts about everything that happened there, but overall, I would say I liked it. Andrade's promo, I enjoyed. Doyle and Andrade were great.
Yes.
Kenny's title celebration, I liked. It's a big segment. There's a lot that happens there, but overall, I liked it. The Jack Perry promo, I thought was fine. I liked it fine. I think really Luchasaurus holding the boom mic is what boosted that up for me.
That was pretty good.
Fletcher and Komander were incredible.
Yes.
Renee backstage with Kenny was a good little segment.
Mhm.
Darby and Brian Cage were great. Look, Don cut a promo. That's always good.
Yep.
And I put the women's trios match in my liked, but it was close to hitting the midline for me. We'll talk more about that when we get to it.
That's fair.
What was mid for you?
I didn't put it in my like, so I guess maybe the trios with the women, but it's borderline for me because I think it did a good job of making because Hyen and Maya needed to look good, and they did. But I am getting a little tired of having Divine Dominion kind of look kind of weak
Mhm.
because when they were dominating, it was during the break and we didn't get to see it.
Yep.
And they spent so long building up this team as the most dominant women's tag team ever. And then Willow Nightingale as a superhero just taking them out left and right and in the middle. And I think it makes them look weak.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that
I would agree. Yeah.
that disappointed me. Let's see. Oh, I said I had a couple other B level. Oh, the thing that I thought was this is close. The Andrade moving closer to Mark Davis, I think it's good, but it's not quite like an A level story. It's not quite up there. But I found it interesting because no one came out with Doyle from the
Mhm.
Don Callis family. No one. Like I was starting to wonder, is Don Callis in the building? Because at that point, you hadn't seen Don or anyone else from the Don Callis family. And then you saw Mark Davis. Mark Davis
Yeah.
finally came out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, those two are there. So I just thought that was weird.
That's fair.
The Don Callis family was just
Yeah, that's fair.
kind of
Yeah.
um the conglomeration thing, I thought that was okay. I mean, I like that they're finally doing something with the trios title. I like seeing Lethal Twist on TV, and I think that's an interesting combo with Lethal Twist and the Demand. So maybe we'll get some trios titles. And I thought it was interesting that all of the story happened after the match between Fletcher and Komander, which is fine. But that made it a little less for me that all the story took place afterwards, although it did show Commander as being amazing because he took on Kyle Fletcher and looked great. But that was just kind of not didn't make that heat check for me, didn't quite make it super hot for me, but it was fine. It's a B level and it's pretty good.
Yeah, my mid stuff, again, pretty similar. So let's start with what you ended on there. You'll note I said Fletcher versus Commander was great.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was.
The match was great.
Yep.
The stuff that happened around the match is all on my midline.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it is probably going to be similar to what you were saying, but the stuff that happened around it is mid for me.
Mm.
Match was great.
Yep.
The other things around it, yeah, we'll talk more about it. I agree with you. The conglomeration stuff was on my midline. I actually think I'm a bit lower on it than you are, to be completely honest with you.
Oh,
And that's really everything because, like I said, all that stuff with Fletcher and Commander and everything, that all that stuff around it, that was all on my midline. I have it
right.
in individual lines, but I'm just going to group it together now.
Yeah.
What did you not like?
Before I get to not like, I will go back
Oh,
to a mid thing that I forgot. I love the Darby Brian Cage match,
hmm
but and this is a big but, I think it's a mistake to not give why did Brian Cage have to be the one to eat that pin from Darby Allin? There's so many people on the Don Callis family.
yeah,
I think Brian Cage is such a monster
yeah,
that you are really, really, really stretching my limits of suspending my belief that Darby's gonna whip him like that so quick. And I get what we're doing with Darby. I trust me, I do understand that, but I feel like feeding Brian Cage to him isn't doing Brian any favors, even though he looked great during the match. The fact that he still didn't get he needs to get a quality win at some point if we're going to continue to take the
hmm
Don Callis family seriously if they're not holding a title.
yeah. No, I agree with you on that. I think Brian Cage is a really fascinating case study of AEW because he's
Yes.
a guy that every time he's involved in something, it feels kind of important,
Mhm.
and he comes out and he puts on really good matches, but he loses a lot.
Yep.
And he never is around a title that matters. He had the FTW title, which, let's be real, was
Yeah.
a prop. right?
Yep.
Like it was a prop. Technically they all are, but that one was really a prop.
Yeah, that's a props prop. That was
Yeah, yeah. And since then, it's really been nothing. And at some point, you either got to do something with him, and like you said, give him quality wins and
Yep.
put him in legit programs and legit title pictures, or he's just going to be the gigantic, good-looking dude who makes guys look good and then loses. And at some
Yeah.
point, we're just going to know, oh, here comes Brian Cage. He's going to lose,
Yeah.
and I don't love that for him.
No, and again, he doesn't have to even be chasing a title, but he should be getting quality wins. He should be the
Yeah.
guy they bring in to beat people like Darby.
Well,
Fine, don't let him win clean, but have him win. He needs some kind of
yeah.
quality win. He just
Yeah, I agree. The reason I say he should be chasing a title is because, first of all, there's a ton of them. And second, I don't understand why everybody in the Don Callis family isn't challenging left and right.
They remember when Don hinted at that, and then it
Yeah.
went nowhere. And I was like,
Yeah.
we were both really excited. We're like, finally.
Yeah.
And now
I just
nothing.
don't understand it. I mean,
I don't either.
especially in a world where they've established that all you got to do is call your shot and you get it. You know?
Yes, 100%. But as far as things I didn't like, I think the Jericho Ciampa
Yeah.
thing. We both thought it was done, and I
Yeah.
thought it was smart to have it done.
Yeah.
But this is my only but. If this gets Ciampa over and back on track, because I think they did Ciampa a huge disservice by having him win a title his first night and then lose it in his first defense, and he's done really nothing ever since. If this gets him back on track, and it
could.
yeah, like I
It
said,
could.
if it does, and I'm kind of nostalgic for the Painmaker, so I was kind of happy to see that. But here's what I'm afraid of, and I hope it doesn't go this way. I hope then we don't have to keep going through Jericho iterations to find one that can beat Ciampa. And I'm dead serious about that. Like, if this is what it comes to, if your Painmaker can't beat him, pack it up, stop this feud, and be done with it. Because Painmaker should, if anyone's going to beat Ciampa, it should be the Painmaker.
Yep. I agree.
But I didn't like it mostly because I thought it was over, and but whatever. They get a match at Redemption. Okay, put them on the buy-in, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I didn't like that for a lot of the same things you're saying. Didn't like it. And the Brawling Birds segment was on my do not like list.
It didn't even make my list because I didn't hate it. I didn't even think it was. I was just like, okay, great. You solidified the fact that they're a tag team now.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. All right, so
Okay.
let's get into this. Let's talk about this stuff a
do
bit
it.
more. So like I said, we were live from Boston tonight, which would factor in slightly when we got to the main event. But before that, like we said, we opened with the Death Riders video. My first thoughts on this were, number one, was Ospreay headbutting the camera at first. I was like, what is he doing?
I know. I didn't know what was happening.
Or like really, really practicing CPR. I'm not sure which. I'll be honest with you. What saves this segment for me is Mox. Because I don't think I would give even half of a rat's ass if it wasn't for Mr. Moxyagi, which is what I'm calling him now.
That is so good.
Moxyagi?
Yep. I like
or
it.
Moxyagi, which do you prefer?
I think Moxyagi flows a little better, but either one works for me.
Well, either way, you see what I'm going there. Well, what I'm doing there. I very much enjoy this role that he has stepped into with Ospreay. I think it's really entertaining. I think it's really interesting. I think it's the most compelling he has been in a long time.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a fascinating role for a guy like Jon Moxley, who, don't forget, is a champion in this company.
Yep.
It's easy to forget it because you're not seeing that belt very much. To be stepping into that role, I think is fascinating.
Yeah, like I said, that was the biggest part for me, and that is what him having that role and him doing what he's doing for Ospreay. That has put the seed of doubt in my mind that I thought it was a given that Ospreay's going to win at All In, and now I'm not 100% sure anymore, and that's what wrestling should do for me. That's the story it should tell. It should make me guess that either one of those could be possible and make sense. And now they put that doubt in me, and it's because of the way Moxley is just inhabiting that character finally. And I think he's finally found his footing with this Death Rider Moxley role. And it's the one I wish we could have got him sooner. I'm just glad we're getting this now.
Yeah, I agree. At the time, him saying that stuff about, no matter who it is, didn't register with me the way that it has with you, because I was just like, "Oh, I get it," because he's saying, Omega's your boy and you're gonna have to do it, and I thought it was even a little bit of a reference back to the multiple attempted murders of Bryan Danielson.
Mhm.
But
I mean, it probably wasn't not that,
yeah, but later in the show, it would actually make a little bit more sense. So right now, file that one away. We'll come back to it.
Yep.
From there, it was Cage and Cope versus the Death Riders, but it wasn't the Death Riders that it should have been. It was Yuta and Garcia, which I think we all knew going into this, they are not winning.
No, no, they're not.
And that's my problem with it. Now, like I said, overall, I liked the match. I thought it was fine. I liked a lot of what happened here. But my problem with it was, why have we been doing, we talked about this last week, why have we been doing all these tag matches with Mox and Ospreay for them not to be in this spot? Like, you've had them beat jabroni after jabroni. Why are they not in this spot?
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense to me.
For once, I think the logic is that, and I think sometimes AEW doesn't apply this logic. They have got those two so wrapped up in the world title
Yeah.
that to now have them take on Cage and Cope and now get them entwined in the tag team titles, I think that's too much for just those two. And so I do applaud them for not putting them in. That being said, Yuta and Garcia, give me Garcia and anybody. Give me Garcia and Pac.
Yeah.
Give me Garcia and Claudio. I think Garcia and Claudio would have been a much better combo, because at least then you're like, okay, they're not going to win, but man, this is going to be, they're going to get it really close.
Yeah.
But with him and Yuta, it's just, we don't buy it.
Yeah, I agree. Here's my thing, going back to putting Mox and Ospreay in this spot. I agree with you that it would have made a crowded picture even more crowded, and we'll talk more about this as the night goes on, about crowded pictures. But I think what you could have done here is you could have done a dusty finish, right? You could have had, they're just, they're going back and forth. They've got us on the edge of the couch going, oh my God, Mox and Ospreay are going to win. And then the dogs crash it. And then, Bang Bang Gang comes out, whatever. A lot of the same stuff that happened could still happen. It just happens before the match ends. And that gets you out of Mox and Ospreay being immediately in the tag title picture.
Right.
You can just have it be of, you owe us, like we're gonna do this again, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And I understand that there's still, that would get paid off way down the road.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yep.
But I think you could have done it that way, and it at least would have been, it would have been a more entertaining match, number one. Not that this was bad, but then also, like you said, the inclusion of Yuta. Like, I'm gonna be honest, at this point, if I see Garcia as well, I'm like, well, you're losing. Because it was those two guys from the group. I'm going, this is paying service to something bigger. I would prefer we just do a promo and get to it. You know what I mean? Like, and again, it was nothing against the match. Nobody was bad in this. The match was good. But when you put a match in front of me and I'm sitting here going, I know how this ends, and I don't think it's going to further storyline very much. Right. That's where I start to scratch my head and go, I'm not sure why we're doing this one.
Yeah, and the issue you're getting to, and it makes more sense now, is that they could, now I see it that way, they could have done what you said and still had basically the same outcome at the end, because all the storytelling, again, 90% of the storytelling took place after the match.
Yep.
And that's fine. I understand that, because like I said at the beginning, these are the groups that should be fighting.
Yes.
It's an interesting mix, because you have the Death Riders. And I do believe Mox was out there too, right? Or was he not?
I think, no, I don't think he came out. Claudio came out. I didn't even see him come out. Just all of a sudden, there he was.
Well, I think only Mox and Claudio were there. I don't think Pac was there and Marina wasn't there.
Yeah, you might be right on that. So, yeah, maybe they did. Yeah, you're right. They did both come out. You're right. Yeah, they teleported out there. The whole Bang Bang Gang got involved.
Yep.
The dogs were there. The Bucks were watching from the stands. I'm with you of the Bucks should be doing what they're doing.
Yes.
I don't have a problem. I have a little bit of a problem with the dogs being in it because I thought we'd moved past that and moved them to the Bang Bang Gang. Bang Bang Gang coming out makes sense.
Right.
Like, I get it. It makes sense. That's nitpicky. I own that that's nitpicky. So, but again, all of that, they didn't have to happen after the bell. That all could have happened prior to the end of the match.
Right.
And we've still done everything we need to do, and it makes more sense then because, again, we've had week after week after week of Moxley and Ospreay being the team.
Mhm.
And now suddenly here's the two guys that they trot out from the Death Riders when they want the Death Riders involved, but they want them to lose.
Right.
So,
And the only thing it really does, because Mox was involved, it saves Ospreay from having to be really fully associated with the
yeah.
heel version of the Death Riders, which will
Yeah.
flip coming up in just a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. So it's again, I don't mind the segment. I put it on the liked list. I just
Mhm.
don't fully understand, and I'm not sure. I agree with you. The groups should be fighting, but I feel like the Death Riders have enough going on. I'm not sure this is the time to fold them into it, but I'm also not sure it isn't. So
Right.
anyway, moving on from that, Renee then talked with Andrade after a little video package for him. Look, again, I thought it was pretty good.
Mhm.
I like the idea of him using MJF's ring.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it. The idea that maybe Ospreay is helping him behind the scenes is very interesting to me.
Mhm.
I'm not sure where we're going to go with it. I feel like it's all building to Andrade and MJF at some point, probably at All In.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah.
Well, because my guess is so they've already booked him into Redemption. Andrade is booked into Redemption. That happens tonight. And MJF was not on this show, which solidifies what we talked about last week of it's probably not the worst idea for him to take a couple weeks, heal that knee up, just take a couple weeks off, but he's going to be part of All In. He's got to be, I would
yeah,
think.
he should be.
So this is probably the match, and I'm down with it. It'll be good.
And I'm really happy with this because Andrade did what we said he should have done in the first place, which is if I have to take every title you have, Don Callis, then I will. And I'm like, yes, that's what you should have said in the first place.
Yeah.
And I understand that you were calling your shot for a specific belt. I get that. But as long as we've gotten there, I'm really happy with it. Like I said, I think this moves conflict forward and it hints at, okay, Andrade maybe he has more help than we realize. We already know he teamed up a little bit with Darby in crew, but if Ospreay's on his side, okay, that's an interesting twist. So I'm more intrigued now. Like I said, I am ready for Andrade to have his day, and I'm very happy it's coming in one way, shape, or form. I don't care what belt he gets. I think he's going to get one.
Yep.
I think it's going to be Mark Davis's belt, and I
think so too.
If he gets it, they should let him run that thing into the dirt and maybe never have him lose it. I would be 100% happy with that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm with you. I like it. I like where we're going with it.
Yep.
Then we would get the conglomeration with Renee, which I can't say I disliked it, which is why I put it on the mid. The main reason I can't say I disliked it is kind of what you referenced. Oh, we're actually going to do some with the trios titles. Okay. And it makes sense that the Demand would be involved in it, especially because I kind of forgot they exist until tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you and I differ is I don't like them bringing Jay Lethal's group into it. And the reason I don't like it is because I'm going to guess that it means we're either going to get a match between them on Collision or it's going to happen next Wednesday. But let's be real. This is building to, I'm going to guess, a match between the Demand and the Conglomeration at Redemption.
Yeah.
I would prefer you just make the match.
Right.
It's an ongoing theme of we're going to force people into this storyline that don't necessarily need to be there. There's a lot of that happening on this show.
Let me clarify. It's not that I'm excited that they drug in another trios just to kind of have them there. I was more excited to see that the Lethal Twist got some quality time on Dynamite because, again, I think outside the two other guys whose names I never remember, but they're the Twist. I think Blake Christian is one. I think they're really good, and I think they need some quality time on TV. Now, this was just a fight in the back, but if this is gonna get them a little bit more exposure and get people used to seeing them on TV and used to seeing them as a threat and used to seeing them as a quality team, okay. I mean, I think it's part of a longer story to tell of them becoming a legitimate threat, and you have to start somewhere. So that's where I'm okay with it. Am I okay with them just cramming an extra team into this when it really doesn't need it? Not necessarily, but because it's a team that I think deserves some exposure, that's the part I enjoyed about it.
So I agree with you on all of that, but I'm putting an asterisk on it because
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's going to build to them being a credible threat. I think they're going to job to the conglomeration and we're not going to see them again. They're going to go back to ROH or whatever it is, or they're going to job on Collision or whatever it is. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong, but AEW has settled into a pattern of this, and they've been doing it for months now. Of oh hey, here's this person that I forgot's on the roster. They lose, then we don't see him again, and I have to assume that that is what they are going to do again with this
Look,
group.
let me have my dream, okay?
Well, but here's the thing.
Stop
I'm
shooting
gonna
it down.
look. I hope I'm wrong. I do.
I
I
do
hope
too.
I'm wrong. But right now, that's the pattern, and right now,
Yeah.
it just feels to me like you brought them in to set up a match that you
Mhm.
didn't have to do. I'm
Yep.
not, and look, is the match going to be entertaining when we get it? Probably next week.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and I'm with you. I have no problem with that. I like Lethal's little group there.
Mhm.
I just there's a lot of stuff that happens on Dynamite, and it's been happening a lot lately that I go, I've said this sentence a lot. In a vacuum, cool. It was
Yeah.
super fun. But
Yeah.
the problem is you're taking up TV time with it and you're not really advancing stories, or maybe you are advancing a story a little bit, but you could do it just as easily with a promo.
Yeah.
Or you could do it just as and then you could give some of that time, so for example, you just do the promo, right? And the demand calls their shot. Great. Because again, we've established you call
That's
your
all you
shot,
gotta
you're going to
do.
get it. Yeah, that's all
That's
you
all
got to
you
do.
gotta
You don't
do,
have to
man.
win. You just got to
Yep.
call your shot.
Uh-huh.
And then they could have had, I don't know, Lethal Twist versus the Rascals and
Okay.
maybe start building a trios division.
Okay, now you're talking crazy.
I know. I know. There I
No,
go again.
you're not wrong. And I mean, I can see what's going to happen either
Yeah.
next week or on Collision between now and then.
Yeah.
We're going to get Conglomeration versus Lethal Twist, and
Mhm.
the demand is going to beat down the Conglomeration at the end of
Mhm.
that match when Lethal Twist loses. Therefore, setting up the hot
Yes.
rivalry at
Yes.
Redemption.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's fine because again, I don't mind. I'm glad you're doing something with the trios titles, but I think you could have just cut the promo
Yeah.
and we could have done it from there. And you could do a quick, you could have the demand jump them backstage next week,
Yeah.
accomplish the same thing, but now you've shrunk the time down and you can create more TV time for these underutilized talents
Mhm.
that probably deserve some TV time, like the
Yeah.
Rascals, like Lethal Twist, like those two dudes that they debuted and have not been on TV since that you really like, whose
So
names I
sad
don't
about that.
remember.
So
You
sad about
know,
that. Yep.
I know. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure they're maximizing their TV minutes right now when they do this stuff.
That's fair. That is 100% fair because if they cut some of that, they could have given the Kenny Omega bit a little more time in the middle that it didn't get.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think, yeah. Before we get to that thought, then it was Jake Doyle and Andrade, which again, like I said before, they were really, really good. Oh,
Yes.
however, I made a note in this match and then I forgot to put it in my don't like list. I need to add one more thing to that from the heat check. Taz was bad tonight, man.
He was not good.
He was bad, and in this match, he went so over the top on Andrade's entrance with the whole "That's not his ring," blah blah blah. That was when I went, all right, I don't need to hear you again tonight.
Yeah, no. It was
He was bad.
that was the guy I referenced, well, I think it was last week, where I was
Mhm.
like, "Yay, he wasn't the heel Taz that is too
Mhm.
much. He was a good Taz last time, and this time he was back to being heel Taz or
Yep.
whatever that is." And yeah, he was annoying and
Yeah,
wasn't a
it
fan.
was him trying to work heel, which it's weird that he seems to not know how to work heel anymore.
Right.
Um, I don't know. I was thinking about it after that, like during one of the commercial breaks. And I was like, I don't know that we need a heel announcer on commentary. Like, we don't necessarily
No,
have to do that anymore. Just let him
no.
call the match, you
Yeah.
know?
Like, and here's what's weird. Don Callis is probably the best heel commentator they have. And the
Mhm,
reason he's good is because he acknowledges talent.
mhm.
He doesn't deny that the guys he doesn't like are good wrestlers. He doesn't like, oh, they're garbage. No,
Yeah,
that is how a good heel announcer goes. And
yeah,
he's the best one they've got. So it's really interesting that the guy that isn't on there very often is so good at doing what Taz should be better at this point.
yeah, I agree. But anyway, overall, great match, I
Yeah.
thought. I really enjoyed Andrade doing MJF's Kiss the Ring and, on his entrance. I thought that was really good.
Yep.
I thought they made Doyle look really strong in the loss.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I thought he looked really, really good.
Yep.
And so overall, I thought this was excellent.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like I said, at the time, I thought it was super interesting. No Don Callis, no one else from the family.
Yeah.
And then it was only Mark Davis that came out at the end. And so I was like, this is so weird when they
Mhm.
don't like Andrade very much. It was just super weird.
Yep. It is. I didn't think about it at the time, but when you said it, yeah, that is weird. I agree.
And
I
then to
don't
have
know
it
why they did that.
right. And then that maybe I don't know, maybe Don was late. I don't know,
I
but
don't know.
he was there later, which is fine and great,
Yeah.
but it was just interesting to me. I'm like, "Okay, did people just not make the show? Is there because anything
Mhm.
could have happened, and you and I both know that it doesn't have to be a storyline thing. It just
Yeah.
could have happened. So but with the Don Callis family, it's always about we're together, and then it's like, no, we're not right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I am. You're right. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Just weird.
Yep. Then we got the Kenny Omega title celebration. Now, is this the bit that you were talking about they could have given more time to?
I was kidding because it was super long.
Okay. That's what I thought, but I just want to make sure
Yes,
because, yeah, I wrote down a little long,
yes,
a little long.
yep.
Overall, I liked it, though. I thought that
Mhm.
they did a good job of advancing story. I thought Kevin Knight was actually pretty good here. I've
Yeah.
been hard on him on the mic. I thought he was pretty good.
Mhm.
Um, I did notice I'm gonna nitpick this, and I'm not sure what it was. Was the sound weird on the entrances for you? Like, when
In
when Kenny came out and when the Bucks came out, it sounded like somebody was doing this.
Oh, maybe I'd have to if it was happening, I wasn't paying that close of attention.
Like, it was weird, and it
Okay.
and it I don't know. Anyway, that aside, I again, I thought it was pretty good.
Mhm.
I thought it did what it needed to do, but it was a little long.
Yeah, it was long. I liked that Osprey came out and gave Kenny his flowers,
Mhm,
and that is like, that whole bit, once again, it reinforced my earlier thought that I'm not sure Osprey is taking this title off Kenny, and it reinforced that for me because the Death Riders came out
mhm,
and they helped hold off the Don Callis family. Like I said earlier, first they were playing heels, now they're not,
mhm.
and it was just weird. But now, so you've got the three of them in the ring together, and the Death Riders made the save. So again, this is to me, this is the storyline that is having the most resonance for me, and it's I'm really enjoying this because this thruple weirdness that they've got going on is getting more
Mhm.
and more intriguing because I don't think it's as black and white as I thought it was last week, and I like that.
Yeah, so what I thought was very interesting about the Death Rider involvement in this segment was and this I think does tie back to the whole line of no matter who it is across from you from the beginning of the show. I think so when you put it in context of All In, I think that what's going to happen is, Osprey's going to have to beat him with the Tiger Driver 91, which, the whole thing was he wasn't going to do it again, even though now he's done it because the Death Riders have taught him you do what you got to do, right?
Mhm.
I really truly think that we're going to get a shot of Mox looking at him and giving him the nod like Mr. Miyagi did in The Karate Kid. I'm not kidding. I really think we're going to get something like that.
I don't disagree.
So it's going to cement that Ospreay is not the same guy that he was. But here's the rest of the seed that they planted. Mox looks directly at the belt. Maybe, I guess this was later. I guess it was on the backstage, but he looks directly at the belt when he interacts with Kenny. I'm just saying, clearly Mox has the eyes for the belt again. And I think it's going to build to Moxley and Ospreay down the road.
That's entirely possible. That's entirely possible. In my head, I have it going almost exactly the same way, except for Mox gives him the nod, and Ospreay either refuses to pull the trigger or hesitates long enough for Kenny to do something and then come out with the win.
I have a
either
really
one
hard time.
goes. Either one works for me.
Oops. Yeah,
But
I have a really hard time envisioning a world where they don't put the strap on him in London, on Ospreay in London.
I understand that. And actually, that is what is giving me even more fuel to say that maybe it doesn't happen, because it seems so. Because tonight they did so many things that, in a way, make sense because it's easy. It's simple. It's like, yes, okay, we know these Death Riders aren't going to beat the World Tag Team Champs. It's simple, and sometimes simple is the best. But just because it makes all the sense in the world, they've done enough tonight to plant seeds of doubt in my head that I think it's entirely possible he doesn't get that belt at All In England when it should be that moment. And AEW normally gives us those moments. This would be a time that they could not do that and surprise everybody.
Yeah, I'd be pretty shocked. I mean, I'd be shocked. No doubt about that. I just think that, I mean, if you do that, then you have to at some point get the belt on Moxley, and Ospreay's got to take it off him.
Probably.
But but to me, the story here, the long-term story is Moxley and Ospreay. It's not him and Omega. It's not Ospreay and Omega. And I don't think it's Mox and Omega. So
no. But I think both stories we're telling do the same thing. Get Ospreay and Moxley on opposite ends of the stick. It's just that in my scenario, neither one of them has the belt, and Ospreay does in yours. That's the biggest difference. So,
but then why would they fight if it's not for the belt?
Because Ospreay let Moxley down. He didn't go all the way. He didn't follow through with the training. He didn't put the period at the end of the sentence. Mox is going to be like, you were this close.
I think it's got to be for the belt.
I'm not saying it couldn't be. I'm just saying they've got enough doubt in me right now that I can see that being a feasible thing.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead and be wrong this way, Doug. That's okay.
Yeah. Just sit there in your wrongness and be wrong.
I'm right. I'm just saying they've done a really good job of making my mind go, huh.
Okay.
This is a completely possible road to go down that I hadn't thought of until they started planting seeds tonight.
Okay. That's fair. I mean,
it's entirely possible I'm on the wrong road and you are 100% right. That's 100% possible.
My only, what's hanging me up on your booking there is just, to me personally, it being you've come this far of them bringing, specifically Moxley bringing Ospreay into the Death Riders, and then that one thing being enough for him to be like, well, now I'm going to kick your ass I have a little bit of trouble buying it. Personally, I have a little bit of trouble buying it that you've put all this work into him and that one thing is enough for you to now flip. Now, then again, it's wrestling. And I'm probably putting too much logic into professional wrestling. I have been guilty of that before.
What? Name 5 times that you've done that.
Just go back through the last 5 episodes. You'll find at least one in each of them.
That's true.
But I don't know. I'd have to see how they do it, and I'd have to let that marinate a little bit more. I might come around to it. I just ultimately, to me, I really think I just have a really hard time seeing them not crowning Ospreay at All In.
And again,
personally,
I get it, but that belief in my head, also, like I said, in the weirdest way, is fueling my doubt. Is that it makes all the sense in the world for them to do that. which
Yeah.
makes me think maybe it's not going to happen.
I
And
get that.
I can, and like I said, we are going to agree to disagree, but I think it's entirely possible that Moxley could be like, "Why did I waste my time on you?
Yeah,
What did I,
I could see it.
you worked so hard for what?
Yeah.
Because you
I
didn't
get
want to hurt Kenny?"
I could see it. I just but that's the thing is that's gotta be the promo. Like, he's gotta be direct and in Ospreay's face about it. He can't do
Yeah,
his cryptic thing that he does. Like,
yeah.
it's gotta be he's gotta lay it out clearly. Because remember, they still never have addressed the multiple attempted murders of Bryan Danielson and Orange Cassidy,
Mhm.
which never made any sense. So you can't go back to that. And
No.
that's part of, I think, my hesitation with that particular scenario is I fear that it would then go back to that version of them, and now I don't want you on my TV again, you know?
I think what they could very easily do is have Moxley go, "Why did I put all this work into you and you couldn't what, because of Kenny? We broke your neck, and then we brought you into the family because why? Because we believed in you, because I believed in you."
I really think because the other thing too that think I think part of putting the belt on Osprey is I do think that that's part of what's going to ultimately lead to them getting that stipulation off of Hangman. I really do. I think Osprey, because he's just this kind of guy, and because he and Hangman are buds, I think Osprey is going to be the key to getting that off of him. Because Osprey is going to say, "I don't care. I don't
Mhm.
care that you said you're a man of your word, whatever. I don't care. We're
Right.
going to fight for this title."
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not saying Hangman beats him, but I think that that's how they're going to do it.
yeah, that's possible too. Like, yeah,
So we'll see.
yeah,
And again, I guess that doesn't have to happen at all in. It can happen down the road, but
exactly, yeah.
I think I also think that part of it is because I mean all of them, but especially Tony is such a wrestling nerd. Like, they saw the backlash that WWE got when they did not switch the title from Roman to Cody at was that
Mhm.
Mania 40 or whichever one it
Yeah.
was, the first time
Mhm.
they fought. Like, they saw that backlash to that.
Yes. The
I think that that lives in their head.
the caveat I'll put on that is it's not MJF with the belt now. It's Kenny.
True.
And I
True.
think that changes the narrative quite a bit. And even Jim Ross earlier this week said he'd like to see Kenny have a nice long run,
I
which
would too.
which also does make me think and here's my problem is that if Kenny doesn't have a long run now, I don't know if he gets the belt again.
I don't think he does. And
So
that's part of what's playing in my head here too is there has been so much talk of into the road for
Mhm.
Kenny. It really makes me wonder if like the diverticulitis stuff made him go, you know what? I'm gonna do it for a year and then I'm done. Or whatever it
Maybe.
is. Like
Mhm.
I'm genuinely wondering that. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
But
Yep.
well, we're gonna find out in what can he say, 50-ish days?
Yep.
Something like that. So
Yep.
anyway, let's
He's
move on.
right.
So let's move on because we've right and properly beat that dead horse.
No, let's keep splitting hairs because
Oh,
also
okay.
no, I'm kidding.
I mean, also what came out of that we didn't talk about is they did make the match between Omega and Kevin Knight for redemption.
Yes. Yes, they did.
And they also started planting the seeds of Kevin Knight coming back to the babyface side of things, which
Yes.
I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest with you.
I find it interesting. I like that they're trying to do that. I do not see it happening. I don't think it should happen, but I like the fact that now, for me, now there's two people I have doubts about, or I
Mhm.
should have doubts about, or maybe one I shouldn't, and I do anyway. But I now have doubts about how the path is going to go forward. I don't see Kevin Knight. I see Kevin proving Moxley's point by not flipping.
Yeah, I think or Darby's point. Wait, I
Oh
don't
no,
know.
it
There
was
were
Darby. I said Moxley. I was wrong.
yeah, but
Darby is the one who said yeah.
it made me stop and think because there were a lot of people involved in this. And again, a lot of people are involved in it.
Right, and I think
Theme
at
of the
some point
night.
Moxley tonight did say Darby's right.
I think he did. Yeah.
I don't
I
know,
don't
there
know.
was a lot
It- There's a lot.
of conversations tonight.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. This one was short though. Jack Perry, basically saying chapter 2, and I'm gonna give somebody a shot at Collision. Like I said, probably the best part of that was Luchasaurus holding the boom mic. So
So
that's
weird.
pretty fun. I like that they're keeping Jack intense, but then also working in some of the comedy
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
I
I
think
like that a
they
lot.
found a really good balance with him.
I like that a lot. Yeah. That's really good.
Then out of nowhere, Brodido versus Already in the Ring.
Yeah. I mean,
And
do you remember Aaron Solo and Nick Camarado when they were in
uh-huh.
the night? Was it, what'd they call that? When it was
Well, there was the Factory.
the factory. That's what it was. It was
Yeah.
factory. And at the
Yeah.
time, I remember thinking, man, I think Nick Camarado he's got something there. He's got a cool look.
Mhm.
He's a big dude.
Mhm.
But then I saw him tonight and I went, okay,
Mhm.
yep, you're a big dude. You're a big dude.
Yep. I mean, it's two guys that you forget are on the roster that get inserted here solely to lose to Brodido.
Yep.
And my issue with this is I don't know why we did it. You
The only,
know,
it, you're 100% right, because the only reason that match took place is so that after the match,
Mhm.
after the break, when Brodido goes to the back, that's where the storytelling happened. And it was when they run into Fletcher and Don Callis. Again, you're not wrong. Why are we not giving people, give Lethal Twist a match where they could, like you said, Lee, they could take on the Rascals. Give
yes.
them that.
You could have
You know,
put that there.
that
You could
makes
have
more
had
sense.
Yeah, you could have had Brodido wrestle any of the other tag teams that aren't doing anything right now.
Yep.
Right? You could have had them wrestle any combination of the Don Callis family that's not doing anything.
Yeah.
You could have, I mean, I guess Private Party, both of them are hurt, but you could have had them wrestle, a combination of the Bang Bang Gang.
Something.
You could have had them wrestle the Dogs. You could have had them wrestle the two of the Rascals. You could have brought those guys whose names I don't remember that you're a fan of in.
Yes.
And that's just off the top of my head. So you had a lot of options here to put Brodido in the ring with a legitimate team
Mm-hmm.
and give me an entertaining match and still tell the story that you were trying to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, you could have had him wrestle ProtOkada.
Absolutely, you could have.
And it would have done that actually would have made more sense to me for the story that they told, because them just celebrating and bumping into Kyle Fletcher and now we're gonna fight. It's got a week.
Yep.
Got a week.
Yep. I mean, and it was also, talk about a telegraphed moment. It's like, that's not foreshadowing. That is spoiler. Like,
Yes.
that's not subtle. It's like, well, you know what's going to happen.
Yep. And so all this would flow together, right? So then, we touched on that backstage with Fletcher that gets interrupted, quote unquote, by Bandido. And that flows into Fletcher versus Komander, which was an absolute banger of a match. Like I said, I have nothing bad to say about this match. In fact, I think it's probably my match of the night.
I think that's my match of the night as well.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Yep.
I'm glad I had read, I think today, that Komander got the visa issues cleared up. So I'm glad that he'll be around for a while now, hopefully, because that was great.
Yeah. I even wrote down, holy cats, they made it look like there was going to be a title change at one point.
They did.
They really had me biting on it hard.
Yeah. I mean, it was really good. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was like, man.
Yeah. And then, but in the post-match stuff, we get weird again. Because like I said, all the stuff around this match is weird and well, just weird. Because at that point, we've had no real legitimate beef between Brodido and Fletcher and them.
Mm-hmm.
So why did they come out? You know what I mean? Like, logically, why does because you didn't get into it backstage.
Right.
So why did they come out?
Here's where I think they dropped the ball on this one, personally. I thought, okay, so you have the mini conflict where they're just like, woohoo, here's our flag, whatever. And you have the Don Callis family being Don Callis family being offended. We get that. That's what they should. But then you have Fletcher trying to rip the mask off Komander. Who then makes the most sense to come out and try and stop that?
the other masked guy, maybe?
Thank you. Not
Mhm.
Takeshita.
Yeah.
I get Takeshita doesn't like Kyle Fletcher. However, it makes so much more sense to have Bandido come out and do something. But they had Takeshita do it. And it's like, why are you doing that? And then Okada comes out. It's like, okay, we haven't seen Okada in a while. That's
Mhm.
cool. Let that happen. Then you get them both, again, Fletcher and Okada grabbing the belt, which they plant the seeds for, that
Mhm.
is going to be a thing because it's totally going to be a thing. And
Mhm.
then you have Brodido come out, which that's the only thing that kind of saved that whole storytelling for me. It's like, okay, fine. That you should have led with that, in my humble opinion.
I agree because by the time they come out, it's almost too late.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you here?
Yep.
So
And the only reason they're there is to set up the angle for later.
right, exactly. But, logically, you're right. They should have been the first ones out. So I didn't love how they set this all up. Now, look, I'm
No.
not opposed to the match by any stretch of the imagination. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I am too, but the setup to it is pretty weak. And again, sing along if you know the words. Look at how many people they have now shoved into the international title scene. It went from being something that was kind of secondary to the Takeshita Okada beef. Fletcher would be part of that throuple too. To now, you've got like 5 dudes involved in it. And so again, we're just shoving people into this story. And I don't know, like, do we need to show Tony Khan a calendar and go like, you have all these days
Yeah.
to spread this out?
To be a little bit fair, I think the only reason Bandido is involved is to feed the fire of Okada and Fletcher.
I agree.
That
I
is the
agree.
sole purpose for that happening.
I agree. And I think
And
he's gonna drop out of the picture after Redemption. Yeah.
right. And so I'm not as upset by that. I'm a little, like I said, I'm a little more bothered by the backhanded way they snuck into it, because I thought it made so much more sense to just have it be a direct, you know, we ran into you, I'm mad at you, you can't take the mask off one of my guys. No, screw
Yeah.
you. That made so much more sense. Then have Okada come out and then pick up the belt, and then he doesn't have to touch anybody. He can just pick the belt up, and then they can have their stare down, and we still get the same effect. So
You know
that's
what you could have even done there? You could have had a match Brodido versus ProtOkada at Redemption, and you
that's
can
what I thought.
have them. Yeah.
I thought we were going to get that.
Yeah, I did too. And you can have them, you know, at the end of that match, ProtOkada goes over and you can still do the thing where they both go for the belt and you start laying that
Yep.
groundwork. Cause I think, keyword think, we're headed to either Okada and Fletcher at All In for the international title, or it's going to be a 3-way with Takeshita in there as well.
Right. That's entirely possible. Yeah.
But again, that's why I'm like, let me show you a calendar.
I
Okay.
also thought for a hot minute, Fletcher was going to challenge both Bandido and Brody
I thought so
for the
too.
title. I really did.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get, for a second there, I thought we were going to get a multi-person match at Redemption where at one point I thought we might get 5 people in this. I did. I really thought that it was
we
going to be
love those.
Fletcher. Yeah, I was like, I think it's going to be Fletcher, Okada, Takeshita, and then the Brodido guys. I was like, there might be 5 people fighting for this belt at Redemption.
No, they're going to wait for the 7-man match for the belt at All In.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But, and again, I think that this is symptomatic of a problem we talked about, I think it was last week, of by parking Redemption here.
Yeah.
In between, Double or Nothing. And I know Forbidden Door was there, but again, Forbidden Door is its own thing in my mind. Parking it between Double or Nothing and All In, you've got to put this card together, especially because it's the first pay-per-view and you're in Montreal, which they haven't really done before. But it's so overshadowed by All In.
Oh yeah.
That it feels a lot to me like, they fixed it this year, but when they would keep All Out on Labor Day weekend, and so they had literally like 1 week to put it together between All In and All Out, and it was like,
it's too much.
It's just there, like it was just there.
It should be a bigger deal, and it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, like I get you're giving yourself a month on each of these, basically. on
Mhm.
each of these 3 shows, but Redemption is getting very overshadowed by All In. And I don't think there's anything wrong with just saying, "Look, we'll do Forbidden Door," because again,
Mhm.
that's its own entity.
Yep.
And then we're not gonna run a pay-per-view between that and All In, and just let the build be to All In.
Right. Or
But
at the
that's
very
just me.
least, make sure Redemption is definitely laying more solid groundwork for All In. And you can
Yeah.
have some of those other, you could then that is where you could start laying the seed in for some of those other B-level storylines that need a little
Mhm.
more room to breathe, because you don't need to have all your A-level storylines on Redemption because you've got All In coming out. So,
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah, I think they've got options there. I'll tell you one thing that may very well happen is Forbidden Door may go away. We'll see what happens with
Yeah.
New Japan and everything.
Yep. That's
On
possible.
one hand, I'd be a little bit sad. On the other hand, it might be the best thing for them to open up the calendar a little bit. Don't shoehorn a new pay-per-view in there, Tony.
I mean,
He
unless
gonna.
you're gonna give it to us for free, then don't do it.
He's gonna. It's gonna be 19 hours long.
Thank God.
So then we got Renee and Kenny. And this is where Mox looked at the belt as I look at my notes.
Okay.
He looks pointedly at the belt. So again, there's some seed planting going on here. I don't mind that because again, I think it's a longer term thing. So I don't mind that you've got
Yep.
multiple people in the orbit on this because you
Yes.
can see, again, you can kind of see how it lays itself out, right? Like
Uh-huh.
setting aside everything you and I talked about a little bit ago, you can see how, okay, so Omega beats Kevin Knight at Redemption. So then it's him and Ospreay at All In. Let's just do chalk, if you will.
Mhm.
If Ospreay wins, then at some point, I really think at some point it builds to him and Moxley for the belt because Mox
Yep.
has eyes on the belt. So you can see how this kind of lays itself out and how they can book the next 4-ish months, give or take,
Right.
of the world title. So that I have no problem with.
Yes.
It's just all this other stuff where they're shoehorning all these people in.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, I would rather you just let it breathe.
Mm.
Like if the story, so let's go back to the international title. If the story really is the breakup of ProtOkada, then let that breathe. Let that be
Yeah.
the story and let that breathe. Find something else for Bandido to do. I'm told he's the ROH world champion. Does he defend that belt? I don't.
We don't watch ROH, but I'm gonna say yes, he does.
Probably, but
Just
I would
assuming.
not be mad putting Bandido defending the ROH world title on Redemption. I'd be down with that.
I think they should, 100%.
I think they should.
Yeah.
So anyway, anywho, then the Brawling Birds with Renee, which was absolutely pointless, just absolutely pointless. It honestly makes me sad seeing those two now.
Yeah.
It just makes me sad.
Yeah, it's get him in
The
the
pro,
ring, let him fight. Come on.
yeah, the promo was meh.
Mhm.
It's just okay, whatever. I don't want to spend a
Yep.
lot of time on it because, like I said, it depresses me.
Yep.
Then we got the Jericho Ciampa thing.
Speaking of depressing.
So I'm with you. The Painmaker thing, I went, oh, like seeing the way they did it, the way he turned and everything,
Mhm.
that was cool.
Yeah.
And I went like, oh, okay, that's kind of fun. But I'm with you. If he can't beat Ciampa as the Painmaker, for the love of God, let it die. And I'm going to
Please,
read to
yeah.
you what I wrote down when the promo started. Ready?
Okay. Yep.
Oh no, we're not finished with this. Damn it. That's what I wrote. And that's
Mhm.
how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need more of this. And to your point also with the Painmaker thing, it goes back to something that we talked about when Jericho first came back of, boy, it feels to me like you're playing the greatest hits, my guy.
Yes, it does.
And for a
Yes, it
dude
does.
who has made a career out of reinventing himself over and over and over again,
Mhm.
that is odd to me. And it
Yep.
again puts fuel on the retirement fire to me.
I will say, I do think it's if you have to extend this, which I don't think you do, Tony, but you're doing it,
Mm.
I think having Painmaker against Psycho Killer makes sense. That
Yeah.
okay. That again, but please, please, for the love of God, let this be the end of it. Please.
Yeah. Don't with the do not put them on the all-in card together. Do
No.
not do it.
No.
We don't need a third of this.
No,
We don't
we
need a
don't.
third match. Now,
Unless they're getting married.
yeah, no, that I'd be down for.
Then that makes sense.
The only way legitimately that you can extend it is if they do, a casino gauntlet match or something, and you put them both in that, but there's other people, and that's not the focus, it's not just them in a match, you know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I
But
might be okay with it, but
yeah, but that's not going to happen. Jericho's not going to be in a gauntlet match like that.
no, I don't think so either. I'm
So,
just telling you, if you're hell-bent, Tony, on doing a third one of these, that's the only way to do it without completely pissing us off.
hey, look, it's Darby and Brian Cage.
Yep, it sure is, which was really, really good. Strong contender
was.
for match of the night for me.
Yep. I really like.
Yeah. I still give it to Fletcher and Komander, but they were really good. That spot where Brian Cage launched him at the ring post, bro.
Yep.
Like the way they shot it live, I was like, oh, like that looked nasty, but I was like, but I think I see how he did it. And then they showed it on the replay from a different angle, and I was like, nope, Darby smacked his head on the ring post.
Yeah, there was a little timing issue there, and I think he got clonked pretty good.
He went ahead and just smacked his head on the ring post. All right. So they were great.
But again, it points out the issue we've talked about is you have these really good wrestlers that cannot get it done.
Yeah.
And they should. So just I don't know what to do about that.
I think that once you get past All In, I really truly think the best thing AEW could do is sit down and really talk about how they're booking all these shows and really talk about what they're doing, because I didn't mind it being legitimate star versus jobber on Rampage when that was a thing.
Right. Yep.
And I don't mind it being legitimate star versus jobber on Collision, because those aren't your A shows.
Mm-hmm.
Dynamite is your A show.
Absolutely, it is.
We have seen way too many instances of here's legitimate people versus already in the ring.
Yeah. Shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen. So they got to take a hard look at how they're doing things once they get past All In and really think about how are we booking it and who are we booking and why are we booking them that way?
Yep.
I really think and again, I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm just crapping on AEW.
No.
I think these shows are good. It's by far, in my mind, the best promotion out there right now. Like I would still rather watch a bad, quote unquote, bad Collision than pretty much anything else.
And again, the only reason we're being critical is because we do care so much about this product and we really, 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 really like it. And the biggest issue AEW has right now is they have too many good people.
They do.
And I do understand, Tony, don't get me wrong. I understand not everybody can have 15 minutes of TV time when you have 2+ hours on Dynamite and then an hour on Collision. I do get it. Then really divide up your roster. Then really have it be you need a Collision team, because basically until last week, that's where Divine Dominion was living.
Yep.
So decide who's your Collision team, decide who's your Dynamite team, and then I think it would be a different story if they had ROH with a real TV deal, and then you could have a little bit more of these people and getting eyeballs on them. But the way it stands right now, not enough guys are doing enough. And it's frustrating because we know how good they are and we know they're there.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought when it looked for a minute like they were going to kind of split the roster between Dynamite and Collision, when it was like, here's Punk's people and then here's everybody else. I actually was on board with that.
Yeah.
I thought it made a lot of sense because it is hard to get all these people on TV and it is hard to book them into meaningful storylines and all that stuff. I get that. I do.
Yep.
But, look, there are so many people that went back to WWE only to be left in catering all over again.
Right.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exclusive to AEW, but I do find it interesting when you look at a guy like Brian Cage and you go, this guy, I'm not saying make him your world champ.
No.
You don't have to do that. But this is a guy who's got a lot of tools, who's a good hand, who's good, who has performed consistently, basically from the start of the company. He's been there, I believe, from day one.
He came in at one of the casino matches, I think.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was at Double or Nothing, if I recall correctly.
Could very well have been that
very first one. But I just keep looking at this, going, like I said, you've you've booked some of these guys in a way where the credibility has taken a hit. And again, when you can put them in a match, like they did a great job with Jake Doyle, where he looked great in the loss tonight. If you can do more of that and it's not that Cage looked bad.
Right.
He looked good, and he looked good losing to a former world champion, but
Yes, he did.
it happens too often.
Yeah.
Again,
like I said, he needs some quality wins, and I don't
he does.
mean he needs to drag like Lance Archer used to do, which was hilarious when he would just drag a guy out with him and throw him down. But he needs a quality win. I'm not saying have him beat Darby, but have him pin Darby in a tag match or something.
Yeah.
He needs some quality wins under his belt, and there's no reason why he shouldn't.
If they're going to continue the Don Callis family beef with Takeshita, have him beat Takeshita.
Yeah.
Have him win that match. They're not going to have a match, but they should and have him win it. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of the Don Callis family, Okada and Fletcher backstage is fine. It just kept sowing the seeds. It's fine. Don cut a promo on Kenny Omega. Don's always good. So, then we got the trios match between the ladies at the end. Like I said, the reason this was borderline mid for me is it has nothing to do with the match. I actually thought the match was pretty good.
Yeah, I like the match.
I just couldn't help but think, okay, so last week you have Divine Dominion and Mercedes beat down the Triangle of Madness. And tonight we didn't see Triangle of Madness at all.
No, we did not.
So why did we do that?
I don't know.
Why did we do that? Especially if this leads to Hyan and Maya World challenging Divine Dominion at Redemption.
Yep.
Because I think it might.
Which I think clearly it's going to.
That's what I think too.
Again,
so why'd we do it?
Here's my fear, and I have nothing against Maya World and Hyan.
Same.
My fear is they're going to hotshot them into the title picture, and they're going to hotshot the belts onto them when they've spent all this time building Divine Dominion up to be these monsters. But every time we see them on Dynamite, and again, like I said last time, the Megasis isn't looking like a Megasis to me. She's the one eating a lot of the shots. She's eating a lot of the hard bumps, and Lena Cross is the one that's coming in and cleaning house. So I don't know. I just think if they're going to be the killers that you've pitched them as, let them be. Hyan and Maya could look great in that match, but you've got to let your dominant tag team look like the dominant tag team. And if you're going to do it during a break, don't do it when we can see it.
Right. Yeah, I agree on that. So I think what's probably going to happen is I think we're going to get Hyan and Maya World against Divine Dominion at Redemption.
Probably.
And I get it. You're trying to capitalize on the momentum you've built with Maya World.
Yeah,
you should.
And you should.
You should do that. I think that Divine Dominion's going to retain because I think what they're doing with the Brawling Birds is starting to position them to challenge Divine Dominion at All In.
I hope so.
That's what I think. And I think it's going to be a better, again, if you're trying to get eyeballs on your biggest show, I think that's a more marquee matchup than having the Brawling Birds versus Hyan and Maya World. No offense to them.
Yep. No, it 100% is.
Yeah. So I think that's where we're headed with it. But I would prefer to see Divine Dominion versus Sky Blue and Julia Hart.
Yeah.
Than them taking on Hyan and Maya World, even though they already had a match a couple pay-per-views ago and it was pretty good. Hyan and Maya World and Divine Dominion, So it's just a little bit confusing to me because Triangle of Madness does not get involved at all here. And Tekla's got every reason in the world to get involved because the two women that are going to challenge her, the next two challengers for her title match, were in this match. Her title, were in this match. And plus you add in the beatdown from last week and they were nowhere to be found. I don't get that. They were
only found in the intro where they recapped Beach Blast Ball or whatever it was.
Yeah. I don't get that. And I don't understand the insertion of Hyan and Maya World into this when you already, here it all was. Like you'd already laid the groundwork last week. So unless somebody got hurt and we don't know it and that caused a pivot, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And that's why it was really on the borderline for me.
Again, I think what we're seeing is the fact that they have a pay-per-view 3.5 weeks after their last pay-per-view, and they didn't have any time. And so, again, you've got these people thrown in to be the stopgap. And then later, and again, we're not going to see the Sisters of Sin, unfortunately, because I do agree that the Brawling Birds are a better matchup in England. So, I on the one hand, I do kind of get it, but on the other hand, it's like either slow down or speed up. I don't know which gear you're in, and I'm getting a little bit of whiplash on some of these storylines that are like, what? Huh? Who?
Yeah.
Why? Okay.
I mean, I just thought I thought for sure tonight that was going to be the match, was Divine Dominion and Mercedes versus Triangle of Madness, because it helps build on what you did on Beach Break.
Yep.
And you can set up the tag match for Redemption. You can start building some heat between Tekla and Mercedes. Willow can cut a promo or be on commentary or whatever to keep her involved in it. I don't know, man. A lot of stuff made me scratch my head tonight. I don't think it was a bad show.
No.
I really don't. I mean, but again, like, as it relates to a pay-per-view that is a week from this Sunday, you made some matches. They're going to breakneck speed, put some more together like they always do.
Yep.
Fine.
I thought it was interesting because last week I was so impressed with the pacing of this of the show and the structure of the show, and I thought it all made sense, and I thought it was so well done. And this one felt not exactly the opposite, but it felt way more loosey goosey, and they've got the heavyweight title belt storyline kind of cooking on all cylinders, and I'm super
Yes.
happy with it.
Yes.
Everything else feels very hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait.
Yeah, I
So,
agree. Yeah.
and oddly for me, one of the most exciting things was at the end when they said that Kenny and Death Spray are taking on the Don Callis family next week, and I was like, okay, now we're continuing to advance that story, and I like it.
Yeah, that's interesting to me. Yeah, but I just think I almost wish with Redemption they had just said, "Hey, July 26th, we're going to do Redemption in Montreal. We're going to tell you the World Championship story, and then, by the way, here's the matches that are going to be on the card, and we're not even going to bother with the storyline as to why it's going to happen. We're just going to tell you, here's who it's going to be. Put them in tag matches and multi-person matches with each other. You know what I mean?" And I almost just wish that they had done that coming out of Forbidden Door, because at this point, more often than not, I'm going to buy an AEW pay-per-view because I know the matches are going to be really good, and it's a match-heavy show. That's what they do.
Yep.
So I almost wish that they had just done that and then just said everything else storyline-wise is for All In.
Yeah. Well, and like I said tonight, they should have, instead of trying to build storylines, mini storylines to culminate at Redemption, go ahead and plant all those seeds, but have some of that play out at Redemption. You could start to reveal some of that at Redemption. You don't have to do all of this in the next two Dynamites. You don't.
Yeah, like I said, that's where I was like, I think we need to show him a calendar, because, like I said, when you look at the ProtOkada stuff, you could have had that play out at Redemption. You didn't have to have them both grab the belt tonight. You could have done that at Redemption.
Right.
You could have had the tag match between Brodido and ProtOkada, which, look, would I be sitting here going like, it's a little bit flimsy? Yeah, but you would have had more time to build it. You could have had them get in each other's faces more.
Yep.
Do a tag match. You can still do it at the end. Like, yes, you could have played a bunch of this out at Redemption and led into All In that way. And I don't know. It makes me wonder what Redemption is going to look like. I mean, it really does. Of how much of it is just going to be like, here's a bunch of matches, and I would imagine the tag titles, they'll set that up for All In, and maybe something happens in the world title match that plays into All In. But other than that, I feel like it's so much stuff that's going to happen at Redemption is just going to happen, and we're going to move on.
Quite possibly, yeah. And okay, but it does make for some frustrating and confusing storyline telling in between now and then.
It does. It really does. Anyway, we've gone super long. My butt hurts from sitting in this chair, so let's put a bow on this.
All right.
You know, it's a confusing one. It's a good show, but it's a confusing show. And I think it's just a scheduling problem with putting Redemption here.
Yeah, I would tell
you.
But
it is what it is.
Yep.
So, on that note, we will have a go-home show to talk about next week, shockingly.
Woo-hoo!
So we'll see what happens next week as they go home for Redemption, and then we'll talk about Redemption next week as well. So if you haven't liked and subscribed and followed and all that good stuff, you should do that.
Yep. Hit the doodly-doos and the thingy things and the bells and the whistles and all that.
I'm pretty sure that was all very technically correct.
100%.
It was. All right.
Right.
I got to go shove like 6 more people into a match right now. Okay.